Thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Hey, today marks the 22nd year of the 9/11 horrific attacks on our nation. And I just wanted to spend a couple seconds here just to tell you that, many, as everybody already knows, there's many lives that were impacted, cut short, and a nation that was shook on that day. And we've been in war basically ever since. And it's a very sombering day. And I hope that everyone set a little time aside to just reflect a little bit, whether you were in service before or after, or at all. It doesn't matter. I mean, I remember when it happened, I didn't know that it was really happening. I got up like any other day. I was getting ready for work, had the TV on, news, I'm kind of kitchen, doing whatever, getting things going. And I looked over, and it was a news station, but it was showing the Twin Towers, but there was only one, and there was smoke coming out of it. And I thought they were talking about a movie or something. I didn't know this was real life. And then I remember just the heaviness when it became real. And my heart goes out to everyone who was impacted, directly or indirectly. And my prayers are with all the families as they reflect back on this time. And I did pull up an article here from military.com that I wanted to read, so I'll just jump into that. And again, my thoughts and prayers to everyone who was impacted and to all the families that lost loved ones, either during 9/11 or as a result, right, of 9/11. So let's jump into it. Bells toll as the U.S. marks 22 years since 9/11, from Ground Zero to Alaska. Bells tolled at Ground Zero for the solemn tributes unfold around the country as Americans looked back Monday on the horror and legacy of 9/11. People gathered at memorials, firehouses, city halls, campuses, and elsewhere to observe the 22nd anniversary of the deadliest terror attack on U.S. soil. Nearly 3,000 people were killed when hijacked planes crashed at New York's World Trade Center, at the Pentagon, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And the attack reshaped American foreign policy and domestic fears. The story continues. For those of us who have lost people on that day is still happening. Everybody else moves on, and you find a way to go forward, but that day is always happening for you, Edward Edelman said as he arrived at Ground Zero to honor his slain brother-in-law, Daniel McGinley. President Joe Biden is due at a ceremony on a military base in Anchorage. His visit en route to Washington, D.C. from a trip to India and Vietnam is a reminder that the impact of 9/11 was felt in every corner of the nation, however remote. The hijacked plane attacks claimed nearly 3,000 lives and reshaped American foreign policy and domestic fears. On that day, we were one country, one nation, one people, just like it should be. That was the feeling, that everyone came together and did what we could, where we were at, to try to help, said Eddie Ferguson, the fire rescue chief of Virginia's Goochland County. It's more than 100 miles from the Pentagon and more than 3 times as far from New York, but a sense of connection is enshrined in a local memorial incorporating steel from the World Trade Center's destroyed Twin Towers. The predominantly rural county of 25,000 people holds not just one, but 2 anniversary commemorations. A morning service focused on the first responders and an evening ceremony honoring all the victims. Other communities across the country pay tribute with moments of silence, tolling bells, candlelit vigils, and other activities. In Columbus, Indiana, 9/11 dispatchers broadcast a remembrance message to police, fire, and EMS radios throughout the 50,000-person city. Which also holds a public memorial ceremony. Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts raise and lower their flag at a commemoration in Fenton, Missouri, where a Heroes Memorial includes a piece of the World Trade Center steel and a plaque honoring 9/11 victim Jessica Leigh Sachs. Some of her relatives live in St. Louis suburb of 4,000 residents. We're just a little bitty community, said Mayor Joe Marath, but it's important for us to continue to remember these events, not just 9/11, but all the events that make us free. New Jersey's Monmouth County, which was home to some 9/11 victims, made September 11 a holiday this year for county employees so they could attend commemorations. That's great. As another way of making the anniversary, many Americans do volunteer work on what Congress has designated both Patriot Day and a National Day of Service and Remembrance. At Ground Zero, Vice President Kamala Harris is due to join the ceremony on the National September 11th Memorial and Museum Plaza. The event will not feature remarks from political figures, instead giving the podium to victims, relatives, for an hours-long reading of the names of those who have passed. James Giacconi signed up to read again this year in memory of his brother, Joseph, 43. The family attends the ceremony every year to hear Joseph's name. If their name is spoken out loud, they don't disappear, James said in a recent interview. The commemoration is crucial to him. I hope I never see the day where they minimize this, he said. It's a day that changed history. Biden will be the first president to commemorate September 11th in Alaska or anywhere in the western U.S. He and his predecessors have gone to one or another of the attack sites in most years through Bush, Obama. Each marked the anniversary on the White House lawn. At times, Obama followed one of those observances by recognizing the military with a visit to Fort Meade in Maryland. First Lady Jill Biden is due to lay a wreath at the 9/11 memorial at the Pentagon. In Pennsylvania, where one of the hijacked jets crashed after the passengers tried to storm the cockpit, a remembrance and wreath laying is scheduled at Flight 93 National Memorial in Stoystown, operated by the National Park Service. Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff, however you say it, is expected to attend the ceremony. The memorial site will offer a new educational video, virtual tour, and other materials for teachers to use in the classroom. Educators with a total of more than 10,000 students have registered for access to the free National Day of Learning program, which will be available through the fall, organizers say. We will need to get the word out to our next generation, said Memorial spokesperson Catherine Hostletter, I don't know, whatever, a National Park Service ranger. With that concludes the article. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Have a great one, and remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.